An entitled Karen tried to hit my brother, so I slapped her in return. This was a few years ago and I was really young. I can understand that back then I was an irrational boy. Back then I was 11 years old and was with my mother and my younger brother, who I am very overprotective of. You see, that day, my mother and my brother and I went out on a day out in that well-known town in France. It was July and was pretty hot for a mountainous area. I could see everyone was pretty frustrated. After a long day of walking around, my mother left me and my brother in our car while she went to the shopping market to get some groceries. It was right next to the place where we parked, and she had done that many times before. This was France and it was generally normal. So we were alone. It was quite busy, so we had one of the most convenient parking spots. We were just minding our business when a pregnant woman about 40 with her daughter, who looked rather young, pulled up right next to us, blocking the one-way road. Keep in mind this road was rather busy. She rolled down her window and started knocking on the back window. I, who had control over the car, rolled down mine. Immediately, she started giving us a pep talk like we were her children in French. She visibly saw we were confused as I only spoke a little French at the time. Unfortunately, she knew English and started barking at us.
Why are you parked there in a spot next to the supermarket? Can't you see I'm pregnant and clearly need that spot as my child and I want to shop?
Remember, the spot we parked in was not for priority citizens, and we paid a pretty expensive fee to have it for the duration of our time there. And also that I was 11 and my brother was a fragile 9-year-old who got pretty scared already. I responded, "I'm sorry, but my mom is away shopping in the supermarket, and I can't do that." She looked me dead in the eye.
Okay, give me your mom's keys and I'll park you down the road where there are plenty of spaces.
I was shocked, and my brother returned a shallow suggestion, saying, "Then why don't you park down there?" Her face turned bright red. She started yelling at him and how he should respond with respect. The line behind her had cars building up, and some of them started beeping loudly. She was literally blocking traffic. Then she got out of her car and reached to hit my brother in our car and to reach for the keys in the car. I yelled, "Get away from my brother," and slapped her hand hard with all of my might. She started screaming,
"What is your problem, you disgusting child?"
and got to her phone to call the cops. I saw she had a small red spot on her arm. Unfortunately for her, my mom heard the commotion and ran out with her groceries. Her daughter was now crying, and there was a list of impatient drivers behind her. My mom and the security came out, guns a-blazing, not literally. The look on the woman's face was priceless. She drove away cursing us in French over and over again. My mom kissed the now shaken brother and was angry at me for slapping a lady. I explained the situation to my mom, and although she was upset, she was still happy I protected my brother. Wow, this is a crazy story that absolutely had a lot of zigs when I thought it was gonna zag. The fact that someone came up to this car and tried to reach in to move the car while there are children inside is absolutely baffling. You don't mess with other people's kids. And from the sounds of it, they had paid for this parking spot so that their mom could go shopping. So there really isn't a big deal. Like, I understand that this lady is pregnant, but by no means does that give you obligation to act insane. Crazy stuff. And I'm super happy for the kid in this story. They did the right thing by defending their brother and keeping this terrible person away from them. If I was in his shoes, I would have done the exact same thing.
The full version of this video is on the Am I the Jerk YouTube channel, so check the link in the description for it. And if there are any updates to this story, that's where they'll be. There is also a podcast version of this show on Spotify, Apple Music, or whatever you use. Just search Am I the Jerk. It's perfect for those of you guys that use Spotify or whatever platform you want to listen to podcasts while you're driving or on the bus or drawing or planning to take over the world. So go check out the Am I the Jerk and Am I the Genius podcasts on any of those platforms.